American Horror Stories should have been impossible to mess up. It's a spin-off of one of the biggest horror shows ever made. Every episode is an opportunity to tell a new story. They had a built-in audience and complete creative freedom. So why did they make something so forgettable? It's not because of the acting, it's not because anthology horror doesn't work, and it's not because the twists are ridiculous. It's a bad show because it's trying to be the wrong show. American Horror Stories tries so hard to be Black Mirror. And the problem is, it fundamentally misunderstands what makes Black Mirror work. There are a few genuinely great episodes, but there are also the ones that stop trying to imitate Black Mirror. So let's take a look at where the series went wrong and why the best episodes break the formula that the series beats to death. American Horror Stories is a spin-off of American Horror Story. Both are created by Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk, but unlike the original, American Horror Stories tells a different story in each episode, with one exception. Each episode presents a new cast, new setting, and new concept. In theory, American Horror Stories should have been successful, but even with this pre-established fanbase, the show fails. The main culprit is lazy writing. The writing keeps making the same mistake over and over. Pacing is a massive problem. Episodes have drawn-out setups and extremely rushed resolutions. And instead of exploring its concepts, American Horror Stories relies heavily on the twist. It opts for shock value over meaning. And it's fine for a show to be built off shock value when it owns that fact. But American Horror Stories pretends to be something else. Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk have shown that they most definitely can pull off an original camp television series that leans heavily into its own shock value. Just look at Glee or Murder House. But American Horror Stories isn't being itself. It's trying to be Black Mirror. A glaring difference, though, is that there isn't a trace of depth in the writing. In this video, we're going to explore why American Horror Stories fails, where it succeeds, and why its biggest mistake was trying to be Black Mirror. We need to start at the beginning with Season 1. Season 1 premiered on Hulu in July of 2021, almost 5 years ago now, and it has received mixed reviews with a rating of 56% on Rotten Tomatoes. The problem with Season 1 is that it was only 7 episodes, and a whopping 3 of those episodes were dedicated to the same story. The Rubber Woman story takes place over episodes 1, 2, and 7, which is very disruptive. It's very unusual for a TV series described as an anthology series to be half anthology and half miniseries. I think the Rubber Woman episodes would have made more sense standing alone as a miniseries. As a viewer, I was expecting to press play on episode 2 and be introduced to brand new characters in a brand new setting. Because of this expectation, the continuation of the Rubber Woman plotline wasn't really welcome to me. I was ready to move on and get into a new story, but instead it felt like it dragged on for no real reason in episode 2. And then I really didn't like the return to Murder House again in the season finale, titled Game Over. Just to give you an idea of how bizarre this ordering is, this is the list of episodes for Season 1. Rubber Woman Part 1, Rubber Woman Part 2, Drive-In, The Naughty List, Ball, Feral, Game Over. We'll talk about Ball later because it's one of the best episodes of the series, so when I'm criticizing the writing, I'm not talking about this episode. So basically, episodes 1 and 2 are the same story. Episodes 3 through 6 are standalone episodes, and episode 7 continues the story from episodes 1 and 2. Drive-In, The Naughty List, and Game Over all incorporate technology into the horror of the plot. Drive-In feels extremely rushed, especially after the first 2 drawn-out episodes. Technology lies at the center of the plot, but the episode makes no effort to explore any interesting ideas about the impacts of technology societally. The Naughty List does more to explore the technological themes it introduces. It looks at a group of content creators who will do anything to gain views and subscribers. It's clear that it was inspired by Logan Paul posting the video from the forest in Japan. And I did like the ending of this one. The channel reaches its subscriber goal right before the final member, Artie from Glee, is murdered. Still, the episode is tonally all over the place and thematically superficial. Game Over, the season finale, takes us back to the murder house again, but this time with a mother who is designing a video game set there. I hated this episode. It tries to be Murder House and Black Mirror at the same time and fails to be either. The whole structure of video game within a video game within a video game feels done to death here. And again, the technology is just used as a plot device. It isn't explored in any depth. In season 1, the episodes that try to be Black Mirror fail because it feels like technology is inserted into the stories as a plot device rather than to be explored as a potential source of horror in the real world. Season 2 is a marked improvement from Season 1, but in Season 2, the main problem is that the writers have doubled down on the insane twists. I have nothing against a good twist or double twist, but the problem here is that none of them are earned, so none of them are gratifying. I'm not saying that Black Mirror invented twists, obviously, but it does at times feel like American Horror Stories is inspired by some of Black Mirror's twists. On top of this, the writing of the episodes is so formulaic that we come to expect multiple twists in every episode. As a result, the second and third twists never feel truly shocking. They actually come to feel like a letdown. Part of this is because the writers don't lay the groundwork well enough for the twists to be effective. Again, we're opting for shock value over critical thinking. The episodes in Season 2 include Dollhouse, Aura, Drive, Milkmaids, Bloody Mary, Facelift, Necro, and Lake. This season takes a step back from trying to be Black Mirror. Aura focuses on technology, and Facelift feels like a Black Mirror adjacent concept in some way, but this season gives us a break from technology and honors the roots of American Horror Story. Overall, the failure of this season doesn't lie in its desire to be more like Black Mirror, it lies in the rushed writing. Dollhouse, the first episode of Season 2, does tie into American Horror Story's Coven. It turns out that the little boy is Spaulding, a character in Coven. This is much less disruptive than the 3-episode Murder House story in Season 1. It still feels like an anthology series. 2 episodes I actually enjoyed are Aura and Bloody Mary. Technology is central to the plot in Aura, but it's done in an original, interesting way. I want to look at the failure of Season 2 by analyzing the episode that I believe had the most potential, Facelift. Facelift tells the story of a woman struggling to come to terms with age changing her appearance. She obsesses over trying to look younger, going so far as to apply her own urine to her face. In this episode, our main character, Virginia, seeks out plastic surgery due to her feelings of ugliness. Her stepdaughter is her entire support system, and she offers Virginia emotional support despite disagreeing with her decision to undergo plastic surgery. Virginia is eventually invited to a retreat where her bandages will be removed, and her daughter follows her there before being removed by security. The horror element is introduced at the end, when Virginia's bandages are removed and she finds she's been disfigured to look like a pig. She learns she is to be the human sacrifice to this cult of beautiful people. Each year, they ritualistically hunt and kill an ugly person in order to maintain their beauty. Virginia runs as she is hunted by the cult, and eventually she's killed. Her stepdaughter Faye is brought to her body, initially devastated, but Faye learns that her real mother was a member of the cult of the beautiful people, and the episode ends with Faye taking her place among them. This concept could have been so interesting, but this episode was bad. For the majority of the episode, Faye is the voice of reason, completely uninterested in vanity. The only things we really know about her are that she's uninterested in her physical appearance, and that she loves and is loyal to Virginia. The resolution does nothing to explore either of these character facets, instead changing them with no justification. This episode is representative for me of the show as a whole. We take a promising concept and destroy it with thoughtless writing. We've made it to Season 3. Season 3 has 2 of the best episodes of the series, but it also has some of the worst. This is the season where American Horror Stories fully embraces its identity as a wannabe Black Mirror. Season 3 has 9 episodes. Bestie, Daphne, Tapeworm, Organ, Backrooms, Clone, X, Leprechaun, The Thing Under the Bed. Bestie, Daphne, Organ, and Clone all incorporate technology into the horror. I really enjoyed the episode Bestie. Daphne is fun too. When American Horror Stories leans into horror, it's fun. But when it tries to be Black Mirror, it just gets boring. The reason is this. Black Mirror provokes critical thinking. That's what it's best at. Packaging really interesting, disturbing concepts that prompt us to look at the world around us and back at ourselves. American Horror Stories, on the other hand, is superficial. It's at its best when it embraces the camp, the gore, the horror, when it's an escape. They've just leaned too far into using technology as part of the horror. Technology isn't particularly scary unless we're exploring how the terror can manifest societally. And like I said, American Horror Stories isn't good at that. There are a few really good episodes. I really did enjoy Aura and Bestie, but I want to look at my top 3 episodes to really illustrate my point here. That American Horror Stories is at its best when it's not trying to be Black Mirror. My top 3 episodes in order are number 1, X, number 2, Ball, and number 3, Tapeworm. I would recommend these, Aura and Bestie, as standalone episodes. X feels fresh. The protagonist is probably the most likable and compelling in the whole series, and we're given a much-needed break from all the technology. The horror in this episode is in what human beings are willing to do to other human beings in the name of progress, and the twists in this one actually serve to enhance the horror of being viewed only as a means to further someone else's ambitions. Baal is my second favorite. It isn't a new concept, wanting a baby so badly you make a deal with the devil, but it's done well. It's no Rosemary's Baby, but it's entertaining, scary, and one of the most interesting episodes in the series. The gaslighting is another well-done aspect of this one. Tapeworm is another fresh one, and the horror is not technological. It manifests in the form of a tapeworm that begins to take control of the protagonist's life. This episode explores eating disorders, the modeling industry, body image, ambition, and the desire to be perfect or skinny or famous or successful. What do the 3 best episodes have in common? They decenter technology from the plot and zero in on the dangers of human desire and the horrors of what it can do to us when left unchecked. In X, it's the desire to cure cancer. In Baal, the desire to have a baby. And in Tapeworm, the desire to be on the cover of Vogue. While these are the best episodes in my opinion, I still don't think they hold a candle to Black Mirror. Even when Black Mirror doesn't utilize dystopian technology in its plots, it's still scarier and more interesting than any episode of American Horror Stories. Take the pilot of Black Mirror. There is no technology that we don't have in the modern world, but it's a horrific, bleak, unsettling watch nonetheless. American Horror Stories is definitely more fun though. I wouldn't describe it as bleak, but I wouldn't recommend it either. I hope you enjoyed this video about a TV series that ended in 2024, but what can I say? I wasted hours of my life watching it. I had to complain to someone. And maybe now you won't waste your hours. Thanks so much for watching. This is still a baby channel, and I get really excited when I get a like, a comment, or subscriber, so please join the community if you enjoyed this video. I'll be making more videos about TV series and movies, horror, and everything else, so subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks again.